I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, I have no idea what to even start with.
I could read the...
Is there an intro? What are we doing? Is there a prayer? Yes. Why don't you read us the prayer? So we can see how he's starting with this.
Lord, we love you. We are blessed for food and family and all the rest.
So not really a prayer so much as just a rhyme. It's just a rhyme.
An invocation?
It's an invocation. Yeah, I guess. It's certainly not from the Bible. It's certainly not from the New International Version of the Bible.
There is also a quote from that, but I don't understand how to read Bible quotes, so that's why I didn't suggest it.
Welcome back to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. I am your host, Phil Gonzalez, and this week, it's kind of part 2 of Valentine's Day in a way, but not really part 2 because we don't have the same guests on this week that I did last time. Instead, I have a returning guest from just a few weeks ago. For the first time, we're splitting up a book. You can talk, by the way. You don't have to stay. You don't have to wait until I introduce you. You've been on the show many times. Elana is back. Hi, Elana.
Hello.
We're doing something weird. We're covering part of a book this week, so it's not going to be a very long episode because we're not covering the whole thing like we did last time. But what part of what book are we covering and why?
Okay, so this is either part 2 of Valentine's Day or part 2 of the extended cookbook universe.
Or part 1 of the Berenstain Bears Holiday Cookbook. So yeah, it's one of three, depending on how you want to look at it. It's one of 3 different series we're part of right now.
Yes.
So because last time you were here, we covered the country cookbook.
The whole thing.
In
one fell swoop.
Toe to tip, top to bottom, cover the whole thing. But what separates the holiday cookbook from the country cookbook?
The country cookbook was organized by type of recipe: breakfast, main dishes, desserts. This is organized by holiday.
Yeah.
So the first chapter, I guess they're not really, well, sort of, sure. The first chapter is Valentine's Day. So we thought, perfect. But it seems strange to come on and have one Valentine's Day recipe, one Easter recipe, one 4th of July recipe.
We talked about that, though.
We did.
We discussed it. Maybe just do 6, because there's 6
But then all
sections.
of a sudden one day I was like, it's going to be Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And so we just decided to dive in. We're just doing Valentine's Day today. So yeah, part 2 of Valentine's Day.
Part 2 of Valentine's Day. So last week we talked with, I talked with Christy and Brian about a Berenstain Bears story. This is the recipes the Berenstain Bears, I guess, would be eating on, well, there is actually a little bit of narrative here.
It's about as in-depth as the narrative in the other cookbook.
Saint Valentine, as we know, is the patron saint of romantic lovers, as well as epileptics and beekeepers. So it's only fitting that the chapter begins with a quote from John.
And a really great picture of bears ice skating. One of them has hearts for eyes and is like juggling hearts and flowers.
So it's a random picture from the Berenstain Bears Very Funny Valentine. Hello, it's Editor Phil. I was mistaken about the source of this image as well as the title of the book. I meant to say either the Berenstain Bears Comic Valentine or Funny Valentine or Funny Valentine. But it's actually from the religious rewrite of the story, The Berenstain Bears Valentine Blessings. And now, back to the show.
That is a true picture from a book?
Yes, this is the book that Christy and Brian and I were discussing last week, where a giant girl cub falls in love with brother.
This is that same book?
This is that same book. And Sister Bear in the illustration is mocking brother by dancing around with her.
Okay, this illustration does not stand on its own.
Yeah, it's weird. But the Valentine's Day is a picture from that book, which is legitimately a Valentine's book.
Yeah,
so
that's
good for them.
That's true.
As we talked about last time, we're not sure where all the pictures come from in this, but we do know, because I looked...
Yeah, because a couple pictures in is 2 cubs fishing.
We know that the photography for this book was done by Ron Nickel Photography. Ron Nickel, of course, a Canadian photographer whose website is no longer functioning.
Wait, how old is this book?
This is 2016.
All right. A lot has happened.
All I could find from Ron Nickel is his Flickr profile, where he took a bunch of pictures of a Canadian passion play and a few wedding photographs. But he's a photographer who I guess takes a lot of religious photos, which is why he's taking pictures for his Honor Kids book, I guess. So the story here is that the bears love each other very much. So Valentine's Day is the perfect holiday for them, which that's not what Valentine's Day is really about.
Although it was in that book you just covered, so.
So I guess, like, this is the confusing. Okay, so Valentine, patron saint of romantic lovers, which is which clearly differentiates it from other kinds of love.
But in the 5-paragraph mini narrative, Sister asks Mama for food for their class Valentine's party, which is what any kid who's reading the this is just like the other one in that you're like, who is this book for? Is it for adults? Actually, I would say this one is so far aimed more actually at kids.
Yeah,
given the recipes, at least in the Valentine's section.
Except for one of the ones they name here. Which is, well, she asked Mama to make pink party popcorn for the class Valentine's party.
Which we also made.
And Papa and Brother request Valentine's Day pizzas.
Which we did not make.
Which we did not make because it's actually far more complicated than I was willing to devote my time to. They take a shopping trip to town, they write a list, they buy the ingredients. That's the end of it.
Yeah, that's the end of it. And like the other book, some of these are recipes, some of these are arts and crafts project. Like the other book, some of these are like open a can, like literally, and others of these are pretty intricate. At least going off just Valentine's Day. We only looked at Valentine's Day.
And like the narrative tells us, some of these seem to be things you would serve at a party. Some of these are just dinner.
Yeah. And so there are 7 recipes for Valentine's Day, and we made 3 of them, so pretty high.
We made 3.
percent.
We made the first recipe in the book. Pink party popcorn.
Yeah, that was a hit.
Yeah, that turned out.
That was a hit. It looks nothing like the picture.
Yeah.
And it didn't turn out pink, but it was very tasty.
So the pinkness of the pink is depending entirely on how much food coloring you use.
I think it's also about how much it spreads around the popcorn.
Yeah, and adheres to the popcorn.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thick coating.
So I would say that our popcorn was red or not colored at all, as opposed to pink everywhere. It looked a little like barbecue flavor.
For those listening at home, the pink party popcorn looks like a bowl of pink popcorn, pink because it has been coated in some kind of, just from the illustration, the photograph, it's apparently some kind of a frosting or icing.
And in the picture, it actually just looks like popcorn, but in real life, it is popcorn with
craisins
and chocolate chips. It's coated in white chocolate.
Mm-hmm. So
and then the food coloring.
So you pop a bag of microwave popcorn. That's by instruction.
First, you go to Michael's
right.
to get a special. We have 2 types of red food coloring in this house, and this is a 3rd type that I never knew existed. So that I know they were trying to do pink for Valentine's Day. This whole recipe would make way more sense because the color didn't work anyway, and you had to make an entire trip.
So you have to use. So the reason it's pink is you use white chocolate. You melt white chocolate and you dye it pink. But you have to use oil-based food coloring, which is not gel food coloring, as everyone asks online.
And is not regular liquid.
And is not regular,
coloring.
Because if you use food coloring that has water in it,
it'll make the chocolate seize.
It makes a chocolate seize. I assume it makes white chocolate seize as well.
Yeah, I don't know about. I just don't know about.
I guess if you're using real white chocolate with cocoa
regular
butter
chocolate, famously will seize if you get any water in it. But again, it didn't work.
It didn't work, but it didn't seize.
It didn't seize. I don't know that it was. I would make it again in a heartbeat. I would not do the food coloring.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the food coloring. You don't have to go out and spend $13 on food coloring.
Is that are you kidding me?
Well, because you could only buy it in packs of like 5 colors.
What? So we have 5 colors of this?
Yeah. Oh boy, we can have all kinds of popcorn.
Oh my god.
Elana lives here, by the way. We live together. We've been together for almost 19 years. For those of you confused at home.
So here's how the recipe works. You toss the popcorn. No, so first, it's just microwave popcorn. Although you had trouble finding plain.
I had trouble finding, microwave popcorn that wasn't super flavor, like super buttery. So this is actually
a recipe with a scavenger hunt component.
This recipe would have been so much easier if I just used popcorn. Because we have tons of popcorn.
That's true.
But instead I had to find a special type of Orville Redenbacher that's like lightly salted, just to get it as neutral as possible.
Yeah, so you have you melt the chocolate, you have the warm popcorn, you toss it in the warm chocolate. that's, I guess, pink, theoretically. I don't know. For some reason, that didn't work. And then you add the cranberries and chocolate chips, which we discovered later will all sink to the bottom.
Actually, I added the cranberries and chocolate. You added those first, so you tossed them all with the chocolate.
Oh, that's the problem. They need to go in last.
Well, that's what it said, and I was trying to stick as close to the recipe as possible.
You're absolutely right.
But however much it didn't mix, it did taste good.
It sure did.
It was very nice. The chocolate, the white chocolate wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, because I don't actually like white chocolate, so I thought I wasn't going to like this, but it's good.
The chocolate chips complemented it well. The craisins complement it well. Maybe add some nuts if you want to.
It was very good. It says store in an airtight container, makes 3 to 4 servings. There are 3 of us. There was no storing in an airtight container because we ate it in one sitting.
We literally sat at the table and ate an entire tray of it and then had done. I mean,
it was good.
It's a bag of popcorn. If you can finish a bag of popcorn, you shouldn't have too much trouble finishing this. So yes, pink party popcorn was a hit.
Yeah.
Just wasn't pink.
Well, yeah, it needs a little tweaking, but it was definitely good. And then the next one is a red berry smoothie that I actually thought we should make, and you said no, so we didn't. That's all I have to say about that.
I poo-pooed the idea because we make smoothies, or you make smoothies.
Yeah, but so what? So make another one.
And I was like, and ironically enough, of course, one of the recipes is something I make all the time anyway.
Yeah, that's the very next one. So then we made. So Phil's like, I don't want to make a smoothie. We eat those all the time. What's the next recipe? Tomato soup with grilled cheese.
Okay, but look, a smoothie is a smoothie is a smoothie. It's always red. It's always pink. It's always this. A grilled cheese sandwich does not always shape like a heart.
That part didn't work. This was one of the arts and crafts recipes. One thing is that it tells you to use olive oil to...
Yes.
And you did that. Mm-hmm. We talked about that ahead of time because that isn't the way you normally like to do it.
What Elana was saying is, instead of buttering the bread... Okay, so the next recipe is tomato soup with grilled cheese. And if you're wondering if it's any kind of special tomato soup with grilled cheese, it's whatever tomato soup you want.
And this is step 1. Prepare the tomato soup according to the directions on the can.
Now, I did not follow these directions. Wait, did I use a can of tomato soup? I don't remember. Or did I use a box? I can't remember.
It's fine. It's in the spirit of the recipe. But the main thing is you're supposed to use a heart-shaped cookie cutter to make a heart out of your slices of bread. Or it says you can cut the hearts by hand. It turns out that neither of those is
work. Easy. They are very...
Because you're supposed to do it before you grill the cheese.
Now, I did that. The first... Okay, so the idea is that you use this whole wheat bread. It has to be whole wheat bread. You cut them into heart shapes with a heart-shaped cookie cutter. Now, I didn't have a heart-shaped cookie cutter, so I looked up on YouTube how to make a heart-shaped cookie cutter out of a Coke bottle.
I'm going to show you easiest way how we can make perfect heart-shaped cookie cutter out of plastic bottle. First, I cut round shape, then I fold in half. And the top fold inside. As you can see, and my perfect heart is ready.
And it worked.
It did not work.
Except
for the not working.
And this is true even in the picture. The little heart shapes of bread are so small.
Can we back up here? So you made a special trip to Michael's and spent $13 on 5 drops of dye. And while you were there, you did not choose to buy...
Because I did not think I was going to be making the grilled cheese sandwich at the time. Also, I thought it'd be easier to find a heart-shaped cookie cutter. I was like, oh, certainly I can go to Target and buy a heart-shaped cookie cutter.
You're at Michael's.
But later on, I was like, I can probably just go to Target or the grocery store or someplace and buy No place has. And if I had gone to Michael's, I would have spent another $15 because they only had them like in sets of 5 different sizes. So I think I got off light using an old Coke
Well, anyway,
bottle.
Guess what it tasted like?
A grilled cheese sandwich.
It did.
But I did their instruction. I didn't butter it. I used olive oil on the bread.
I didn't notice a difference, but I guess
Absolutely
it was healthier.
Not. What do I usually use? I usually use mayo.
And we don't need to talk about
cheese.
that.
The mayo works. It's a tasty way, and it's a good fat, and it grills up nicely. Try it on your next grilled cheese.
And I actually think we should skip going in order just for a second,
right.
Because the next recipe is one you made, and then the rest are all ones you didn't. So
and we want to end on a high note.
Exactly. So the one after that was Valentine's Day pizza, which is essentially the same thing as the grilled cheese, which is make a thing you always make, except in a heart shape. The difference is this one has, for the crust, 1 cup of water warmed to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, this one is not buy a pizza crust. This one is like start from scratch. And I have only a little bit of pizza crust experience. And my main experience is that there's so much, I think it's gluten in it, that it's really hard to shape at all into a circle. And the idea of trying to shape it into the perfect symmetrical heart that is in their picture, there's no way that was going to happen.
Right, because ladies and gentlemen, this is not roll out some bread, like just some simple dough. This is active dry yeast, 110 degree water, sugar, flour,
make a
making a pizza crust dough, and then you are shaping it into a heart, which, okay, that's beyond me at this point. And then what's weird though is the toppings that are suggested, and they call it out in the narrative, is pepperoni.
Yeah.
But the photograph is clearly tomatoes.
Sun-dried tomatoes, maybe. The other thing is, in the few recipes we've talked about so far, we have an example of a recipe a kid could make with you, a thing that you just eat that's an arts and crafts project, and something that is like advanced baking skill.
Yes.
So it's exactly like the other one where it's just like, who is this book for?
And also, the grilled cheese sandwich, it's a grilled cheese sandwich shaped like a heart.
Yeah.
The Valentine's Day pizza, it's a pizza shaped like a heart.
Yeah.
Like, they're not... the smoothie, at least, I'll give you the smoothie, is at least berries. And berries are like love. But pizza's not. Pizza's like kind of aggressive for a food. It's like an aggressive food. It's not in a good way. We like pizza. But it's like, woo, pizza! As opposed to berries, which are like, love berries. You understand what I'm saying?
Nope, let's move on.
All right.
Yummy chocolate strawberries. Another one. Why didn't we make this? I don't know. You think they're not tasty. I don't understand that, but we did not.
Because I don't need 20 to 25 chocolate dipped strawberries.
How do you know that you don't need 25?
To me, chocolate dipped strawberries are like the cream soda of the decorative candy world. Like,
cream soda's great. What are you talking about?
Cream soda is a type of soda that you think you're going to like every time you drink it. And then it's like,
You did not grow up the way I grew up. Okay, let's move on again. The last
They're just chocolate dipped strawberries, by the way.
They're chocolate dipped strawberries. And they actually have a drizzle of white chocolate on top of them. They're very pretty. They look exactly, those are definitely something you would just see in a
They have a drizzle of white chocolate and a drizzle of chocolate.
Which isn't actually what's in the
Which is
recipe
wild.
Itself.
But yeah. They look more beautiful than your kids are going to
I actually think, though, I have to say, I think this is a really good recipe to include because it's a treat, but actually kind of a healthy treat. It's fancy and adults would like it, but kids would like it. Mm-hmm. It's something kids could do with you really, really well. There's no knives. Well, depending on what kind of chocolate, maybe. But probably not. It's like super easy to make. And it's low, like, it's not like the yeast. Like, you can do a lot of things wrong. This is low stakes.
Yes.
It's going to work. It's going to be strawberries and chocolate.
Which is why it makes sense that the illustration is Sister Bear scratching a dog under the chin with a bird on her head. It doesn't make any sense. There's just random pictures in this book.
Yes. Well, again, we didn't discuss this, but the berry smoothie picture is sister and some other cub going fishing.
But it's the next recipe that's the simplest of all. Something a child can help you throw together with an appropriate picture, by the way. A nice Valentine's picture to go along with our simple little Valentine's treat.
A sweetheart chocolate cake. It actually looks very, very good. It was just Mitzi's birthday, and we briefly considered making it, but we have had too much everything. Yeah, around this house. And the last thing we needed was an entire multi-layer cake. But it's basically, just from eyeballing it, it's basically a regular chocolate cake. Wait, the picture is a round cake that's tall. It does not show layers, but there's no way.
It's just a big, tall cake.
There's no way to get a cake that tall. And then but anyway, it actually says to pour the batter into a 9x13 pan, which is a rectangle and flat. But
none of this makes sense. Yeah.
But anyway, then you put strawberries sliced on top of it, and it looks very pretty.
Alana is calling out the fact that the recipe and the photograph are for two different things.
And the picture is Brother Bear blowing out candles on a birthday cake, which is what this looks like, but is the wrong holiday.
The recipe also says, when the cake is cooled, frost and decorate with strawberry hearts. But the picture, it's only frosted on top. It's a very nice picture. It's not a frosted cake. The frosting is just on the top. The sides are bare, and it does not look layered.
Right. So if you were making it a 9x13 pan, that's how it would work, because there are no layers. You just put frosting on the top of it. So it's basically that their picture is wrong. But
I don't understand.
In the ingredients, it says 1 can favorite frosting.
Great.
So there's also chocolate chips that I don't... Oh, you just put chocolate chips in the cake. Okay.
Yeah. It's a wild recipe. We did not make it.
It's not super intricate. It's not the pizza level of intricacy.
It's not pizza level of intricacy, but it is something that we did not want to make because...
And because it has 10 to 12 servings.
Oh, Lord, we've had plenty of cake.
Now that I realize it's 9 by 13, I'm really glad we didn't make it. But if we had an excuse to make it, I would try it sometime. And I still think we should go back and make smoothie.
We can make smoothies. You've made smoothies.
No, but
I trust you.
Your thing is following the directions and all that.
So we saved the best for last.
We did.
Because we actually made another recipe from Valentine's Day.
Although, I don't know, the best might have been the popcorn.
I think this was my favorite.
It was very good.
This was the lovey-dovey banana bread.
And I thought it wasn't going to work. And it did work.
Didn't work initially.
It did. Oh,
Remember?
well. Okay. So the reason I thought... So it's a banana bread.
Yep.
With almond extract in it, which I haven't done, and that was good. And we already had almond extract, so you did not have to buy that. But that is something that other people probably wouldn't have around and might not use for other things. Although I think if you left it out, it would also be fine. And then it has nuts, chocolate chips, and chopped strawberries. And I said, that's not going to work. Strawberries are way too wet. There was a muffin recipe I once made with Mitzi that had strawberries in it, and it was just a wet mess. Turns out, maybe from being chopped, they tasted great, possibly related to the strawberries, possibly just because of our oven. I don't know. You took it out of the oven. It seemed done from the brownness and from like kind of the way the top was, except it also felt too mushy. But then you tested it with a toothpick and it came out clean. And then it turned out to be not baked.
So our oven tends to not cook things all the way.
Right. And so every time I make a quick bread loaf, it says 50 minutes. And in a normal recipe, it would be like an hour and a half.
But again, I tested it with a toothpick, like the recipe says. It always came out clean.
And I can verify it was not.
It looked done. It was nice and golden on top.
Except I was like, this feels too mushy.
I took it out and it just, as soon as it cooled, it just sunk down like a swimming pool in the middle. Yeah. We thought we were done. Like we cut it open, it was goopy inside.
And I was like, well, it was like not even like almost baked.
Yeah, it was batter.
Definitely not baked.
Just batter.
And I was like, well, it's already not working. So we just reheated the oven, spread it out in kind of clumps on a cookie sheet.
Yep.
Baked it, and then it was amazing.
A great.
Yeah.
But it wasn't banana bread at that point. It was, what did I say? It was like banana bread, like a deconstructed banana bread. It was like, because it was no longer in a loaf. It was just kind of in patties.
Yes.
But pull them apart.
Banana burgers.
I disagree about the almond extract. I think the almond extract worked really well with the flavor of the strawberries. I think it helped bring out the flavor of the strawberries. So you can leave it out, but I think you'd be missing a flavor component. I just thought the flavors worked really well. Like the banana and the strawberry and the almond extract and the pecans. I thought that I used the term flavor profile, and it's the only recipe we've made so far that seemed actually thought through from a flavor perspective. Like, this all works together pretty well.
Well, and just like the other book, I really want to know, where did these recipes come from? Who thought of them?
We don't know.
And it's funny because in the other book, I was honestly convinced that they just sent an email around an office and was like, could everyone just bring in a recipe? Or they just felt like they had no rhyme or reason. But then this exactly mirrors that. So maybe it was intentional, even though I don't understand why that would be your intent.
Well, at the end of the day, we made pink party popcorn.
Thumbs up.
Lovey-dovey banana bread.
Thumbs up.
And grilled cheese and tomato soup, which I ended up just making grilled cheese and stamping a heart.
That's right.
Because I was like, this isn't working anyway.
Yeah.
Because you try to make those little tiny hearts are so difficult to work with. I gave one to Mitzi and she ate it in one bite, and I'm like, do you want some more sandwich?
And it's also kind of wasteful.
Plus, we just like grilled cheese, so I just ate a bunch of crust after that. But in any case, and you think make the red berry smoothie, give that a shot. And I bet that the pizza would be good, and the sweetheart. I bet these were all.
I don't think I have the skill to make a pizza in a heart shape.
Maybe we'll make the sweetheart chocolate cake one day.
I would make it, yeah.
But Elana, what is the next holiday we'll be covering when it comes time to cover it?
One of my least experienced holidays, Easter.
A holiday that even less than Valentine's Day, I don't associate. I know a lot of people do, but I personally don't associate with food, except for eggs. But
don't a lot of people have Easter
a lot of
dinner?
people have Easter, like ham and Easter lunches and stuff, but we never did as kids. So
Well, this will give us something to do.
this will be our new Easter tradition. I remember Elana did not grow up celebrating Easter.
Sure did not.
I grew up celebrating the rabbit aspect of it. So
Your like mama or whatever didn't make you go to.
we did not go to church on Easter. That's a little too serious. We could celebrate the birth of the guy. We weren't going to celebrate the death and resurrection. That's a little too morbid for the Gonzaleses. So yes, next time.
When is Easter? March-ish? I think?
Ish, something. I don't know. It's
I
a
think
lunar
it's in
holiday.
March.
Who understands lunar holidays?
I think it's in March.
So yes, because it's all related. I've covered this in the past. It's all related to the Passover celebration.
It's not by Passover this
But
year.
no,
I
it's
already know
not.
that.
But like once upon a time, it was.
Oh, I see.
It's like that's why it's the only like holiday that's still guided by the moon. So,
Wow, when you type when, it autofills is Easter 2024.
And
Sorry, I was just so busy. March 31st.
March 31st. All right. Well, we'll see everybody around March 31st to see what food we made from the Berenstain Bears Holiday Cookbook. Alana, thank you so much for joining me on this culinary adventure.
It's very fun.
And for everyone else out there, listen to the rest of my shows. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on your favorite podcasting platforms. I'm recording this. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm recording on my phone just because things are weird, which is why I look weird and I can't figure out where to look into the camera. But you can also listen to me on Pizza Toast with Christy Admiral. We are going to be starting up a new series in a few weeks, I'm sure, at some point. We're covering the Freaky Friday books. And Willow and I will be coming back with It's Del Toro time any week now, as soon as we can get our act together. So It's Del Toro time. All my shows are on YouTube. All my shows are available on various podcasting platforms. Check them out. Alana, thank you once again.
My pleasure.
And I'll see you all next time, deep in Bear Country.